Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Monday, March 20th, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want to access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Indiana State vs Eastern Kentucky. Looking at these teams, the greatest difference between them is on offense. They both play at a high tempo, rebounded well against their conference competition, and know how to stifle opposing offenses. However, Indiana State is typically efficient, hitting almost half of their shots and taking advantage of free throws. Eastern Kentucky is not, only hitting 43.5% of their field goals and missing nearly 35% of their free throws. Expect Indiana State's offense to make the difference in this one when they beat the spread. Our team pick is Indiana State minus 5.5 points. Indiana State took control against South Carolina Upstate, pushing their lead to 63-51 with 8:50 remaining. Then, the offense went cold and it was a one-possession game 5 minutes later. The Sycamores' defense held strong though, denying the Spartans from ever tying the game in the 67-62 win. It wasn't pretty for the top seed, but the job was done. Courvoisier Macaulay's double-double played a massive role in the win, along with his 3 assists. Indiana State is 3-1 in postseason play and 98th in KenPom's ratings. Like Eastern Kentucky, they're high tempo, but their offense is more efficient. They hit 48.1% of their shots, the 17th highest rate in the country. The Sycamores also hit 77.2% of their free throws, ranking 18th in that metric, while also knocking down 35.4% of threes. On the other end of the floor, they're just as stout as Eastern Kentucky. They hold opposing teams to 42.4% shooting and 31.7% from deep. Like the Colonels, Indiana State finished with a positive rebounding margin this season. Our total pick is over. Southern Utah vs Rice. The Thunderbirds have won 4 of their last 5 games. They are playing well offensively, scoring 75 points per game in their last 3 games. They've taken advantage of their opportunities at the charity stripe, making over 71% of their free throws on the road. They rebound the ball well and they're aggressive on the offensive glass, which will give them more scoring chances. They also did a good job protecting the ball, turning it over less than 10 times per game in their last 3 games, so don't expect them to give the Owls a lot of easy scoring opportunities. The Owls aren't very good defensively, and they played worse in recent games, giving up more than 80 points per game in their last 3 games, and will have a hard time slowing down the Thunderbirds in this game. The Owls have lost 5 of their last 7 games. Their scoring dropped off during their slump, and they scored a little over 71 points per game in their last 3 games. Their rebounding also wasn't very good during that stretch, so don't expect them to get a lot of extra scoring chances against the Thunderbirds. They've also been careless with the ball, which will lead to easy scoring opportunities for the Thunderbirds, who averaged more than 7 steals per game in their last 3 games. The Thunderbirds aren't great defensively, but they played better in recent games, holding their last 3 opponents under 75 points per game, and won't have trouble keeping Rice's offense in check. Go with Southern Utah to cover the spread. Both of these teams were inconsistently defensively this year, and both teams also like to push the pace. Southern Utah was 16th out 363 teams in adjusted tempo, and Rice was 48th in the nation in adjusted tempo. Rice also allowed opponents to shoot 46.5% from the field, and the Owls will face a Thunderbird defense that is significantly better than the average team they played this year. Take over 161.5 points. San Jose State vs Radford. The Spartans have won 5 of their last 6 games. They don't have a high-scoring offense, but they played better in recent games, scoring more than 69 points per game in their last 3 games. Their rebounding was great during that span, and they were very aggressive on the offensive glass, grabbing 12 offensive rebounds per game, so expect them to get a lot of second-chance scoring opportunities. They also do a good job protecting the ball and won't give the Highlanders a lot of easy scoring opportunities. The Highlanders usually play well defensively, but they weren't as efficient in recent games, giving up at least 70 points in 2 of their last 3 games, so expect them to have a hard time slowing down the Spartans in this game. The Highlanders have lost 4 of their last 7 games. They have struggled offensively on the road, scoring less than 70 points per game. They've struggled at the charity stripe, making less than 70% of their free throws. Their ball movement isn't very good and they don't rebound the ball as well as the Spartans, so don't expect them to get a lot of extra scoring chances against them. They've also been careless with the ball on the road, which will lead to easy scoring opportunities for the Spartans. The Spartans are very good defensively, and they played better in recent games, keeping their last 3 opponents under 65 points per game, so don't expect them to have a hard time slowing down the Highlanders in this game. Go with San Jose State to cover the spread. Taking the over in this matchup for a couple of reasons. Both teams average and allow over 65 points per game on the season, with San Jose State averaging 67.7 points per game while allowing 66.4 and Radford averaging 69.4 points per game while allowing 64.5. This puts our adjusted total just over 130, a considerable amount over our given total set at 127. Both teams are very offense-oriented, with their offensive efficiency ranking considerably higher than their defensive efficiency according to KenPom, and both teams shoot the ball well from the field, shooting about 45% for both teams, meaning we should see consistent production from both ends. Radford has gone over in their past 4 consecutive games and in their past 5 consecutive neutral site games, making me all the more confident in taking the over for this matchup. Take over 127 points. Charlotte vs Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Charlotte enters this game with a net scoring margin of plus 4.1 points per game, which is good for 90th in the country. The offense of the 49ers has been hot for much of the season, particularly from distance, where they sit 21st in the nation, knocking down nearly 28% of their outside shots. This hot outside shooting has catapulted the 49ers' effective field goal percentage to top 25 in the country. While the 49ers have routinely been able to find the bottom of the net, they have struggled on the offensive glass, so much so that they fall to bottom 30 in the country, grabbing around 22% of their missed shots, although in 6 of the last 7 that number has stayed under 20%. What has made up for the poor rebounding presence has been Charlotte's ability to protect the basketball and turn it over around just 10 times per game. Despite the low assist rate, this strong ball security has vaulted the 49ers to an assist-turnover ratio that is top 75 in America. Charlotte's defense has been a bit more erratic as they sit 38th in opponent-made field goals per contest, but fall to around 150 in opponent shooting percentage. The 49ers have defended the basket well, holding opposition to under 60% shooting near the rim, but it has been the mid-range game that's their kryptonite. Fortunately for Charlotte, the Panthers don't look to take advantage in the mid-range all that often. And while the offense has been, frankly, putrid, the defense sits top 25 in opponent offensive rebound rate, and the 49ers' ability to close out possessions has made up for the suspect defense. Part of the defensive woes are due to the lack of turnovers forced, but they have routinely clogged the passing lanes and sit top 10 in opponent assists per game and are top 25 in opponent assist rate. If the 49ers can frustrate the Panthers offensively, they should lace them up for the semifinals. The 49ers are the more complete team and they have the offensive firepower to score from seemingly anywhere on the court. They also have shot the ball very well at the free throw line and don't turn it over. 2 major components to keep playing in March. Milwaukee was benefited by their ability to get to the line and connect. That shouldn't happen here, as Charlotte sits top 10 in opponent free throw attempts per contest. Take the 49ers to win and cover. Milwaukee enters this game with a net scoring margin of minus 0.5 points per game, which is 188th in the country. While the Panthers haven't shot the ball particularly well, they have fed the ball inside regularly and generated a high volume of high percentage shots, with over 42% of their points coming near the basket. By attacking the rim, Milwaukee sits top 65 in both field goal attempt rate and made field goals per game. With a heavy offensive presence in the paint, it should come as no surprise that Milwaukee has also been able to secure offensive rebounds at a high rate, sitting top 60 in the country. Where the offensive woes have stemmed from is the seeming lack of value for the basketball, as the Panthers turn the ball over nearly 16 times per game, which is bottom 15 in the country. The offense also has the propensity to be stagnant and rely on isolation basketball, as nearly half of their points were accumulated by a single player their last time out. On the defensive end of the court, the Panthers have been much more consistent, especially defending the perimeter where they sit around top 50 in America, despite sitting bottom 50 in opponent three-point attempts. This will be especially important as Charlotte has lived and died from the perimeter this season. Milwaukee hasn't just defended the outside well, however, they also sit top 50 in opponent shooting percentage and have held opposition to just 55% near the basket. What has aided this strong interior defense has been Milwaukee's uncanny ability to swat shots, as they block around 6 shots per game, which ranks them top 10 in the country. While the offense has been lethal on the offensive boards, the Panthers have struggled closing out possessions and have given up nearly 11 offensive boards per contest, and that plants them bottom 5 in the country. The test here for Milwaukee will be if they are able to win the turnover battle and close out possessions, especially down the stretch. Offensively, ball distribution will be key. This game is a true clash in style as Charlotte is one of the slowest teams in the country, while Milwaukee is one of the fastest. With Charlotte's ability to protect the ball, they should be able to work the tempo to their liking and take the air out of the ball. Each squad has defended the paint very well, and that trend should continue here. Likewise, the offenses have little hesitancy to firing off the 3-ball, which will lead to more scoring variance. The play is the under 140.5 points.